Good morning, y'all.
Hey, how are you doing, PR, Daniel?
I'm here another day.
Yeah, I'm
That's
doing all right.
right.
Doing all right.
Right.
So,
That is exactly right.
as
Well,
of
I'm glad. I'm
oh,
sorry.
I was gonna
You
say,
go.
as of recording, today it is the first day of fall. Doesn't really
I
feel
don't
like.
believe it was the high's 95.
Oh my God.
But it's going to be cool tomorrow. It's going to plunge to 80 and it will feel like fall. It's going
I
to be
hope,
very nice.
I hope so. Mm.
And the evening temperatures will be um, will be cool too. So I look forward to building a fire in the fireplace.
All right. So, what have we got today?
Well, we have two great stories today.
Ooh.
We have two very familiar stories, I think. I think it will be familiar to a lot of our boys and girls, and maybe some of the grown-ups who are watching. We're going to talk from the Old Testament about Noah's Ark. In fact,
Ooh.
it's I'm going to read this. This is from the Spark Bible, the
Okay.
Spark Story Bible. So here it is, Noah's Ark. A long time passed since God created the world. People forgot about God except for one man. His name was Noah. He loved and obeyed God. I'm very sad that people have forgotten about me, God said to Noah. I am going to bring rain to flood the earth. Lots and lots of rain. Ugh, that doesn't sound good. Build yourself a huge boat of cypress wood. Noah did just what God said and made a big, big boat with lots of rooms. Noah was 600 years old when he
Wait,
entered the boat with his wife. Yes, 600 years old. With his wife, their sons, and their sons' wives. God brought two of every kind of animal to the boat: elephants and zebras, lions and tigers, pigs and giraffes, dogs and cats, deer and rhinos, bears and cows, horses and goats, lambs and monkeys, all came two by two. All different kinds of animals, birds and creepy, crawly things came to the boat. Noah took all of them into the boat. Then the door shut behind them. Inside what must have that smelled like? It must have been terrible.
oh,
Inside the big boat, the lions roared, the dogs barked, and the birds chirped. It was stuffy and stinky. It was muggy and hot on the outside. It rained and rained. It rained big giant drops and little baby drops for 40 days and 40 nights. The rains came down and the flood waters came up. The water splashed on the sides of the big boat and pushed it up and down for 150 days. Finally, it rested on top of a tall mountain. Noah waited and waited until God said to him, "Come out of the boat, you and your wife and your sons and their wives." Noah's family and all the animals came off the boat. They put their feet on dry land. They ran and skipped and jumped. They twirled and danced in the sunlight. They thanked God for the land, and God blessed them. Noah's family grew and grew. The animals and birds and the creepy crawly things filled the earth again. God painted a rainbow of brilliant red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet across the sky and promised, never, and this is important,
mm.
never again will water flood the earth. Whenever you see the rainbow in the clouds, I will see it too, and I will remember. All right. So, what do you make of this story? Is this a happy story or a sad story?
I think it's got a little bit of both in it, you know. Um, the whole world getting covered in a flood, that's pretty destructive. That's pretty sad. And sad to think that by the time Noah came along, there was only one family that followed God. Um, but then there's hope in this story because then you have the Noah and his family survive and they come out and God promises never to flood the earth again like that, never to do that kind of destruction again. So I think it's a story that has both in it, like a lot of stories do.
Yeah, I think it's both because it's pretty sad again to think that the flood killed everything and everyone, right? But then there's the hope that'll never happen again, and that reminder of the promise in the rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
very important. Without that last part, without the promise that God gives to us, then it's a scary story.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
I don't think boys and girls should be afraid of this story. I
Mm-hmm.
think this is a story ultimately about good news because God says it's not going to happen again. Even when we make mistakes ourselves, God still brings us back.
yeah,
God's not going to do this again. We know a lot about floods, though. I mean, we've seen what they
Uh,
do.
we do see floods here in our town, that's for sure. And hopefully we can do something about it, but I don't know. It's a lot of water around us.
Yeah.
There's another thing. So that promise, before we go to the next story, there's an important part about this story. There's a key verse here. The key verse is in Genesis. What does Genesis mean again?
Beginning.
Yeah, beginning to be the origins. Yeah. Okay. It's the key verse in this whole Noah story. It's not the ark, it's not the flood, it's this right here. This is chapter 9, verse 8. It goes like this. Then God said to Noah and to his sons and him, as for me, I am establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you. What is a covenant? What's a covenant?
It's a promise between two parties. So, I mean, like we think about covenants that we see in front of us. So, like when two people get married, they make a covenant, a promise to care for each other and love each other. When we just had just saw a covenant, a baptismal covenant made um, between where God promises to show up and families promise to support a child and the congregation supports a child. So it's actually between like more people. It's a special kind of promise.
And this is a very important promise that God makes to everybody. Can we go to the other story?
Ooh, let's have another story.
I love this story. It's probably it's if I had to pick a very favorite story, it might be this one in the whole Bible, and I like it for a lot of reasons. In fact, this was what I asked, what I chose for my ordination sermon.
Ooh.
The Christmas. The reason is because it's about beginnings. It's about beginnings. Gosh, it's such a great story. Okay, I'm going to actually read it here. I think all the boys and girls know this one, but I'm going to read it again from the Spark Story Bible.
We need to have a fire in the fireplace for this.
Oh, I know. You're right.
Yeah.
Jesus is born. We have to go to Bethlehem, Joseph told Mary. Emperor Augustus has ordered that all the people need to be counted. But Joseph, Mary said, what about our baby? He will be born soon. We'll go slowly, Mary. Bethlehem will be crowded, so we need to leave now. So Mary and Joseph journeyed to Bethlehem, the city of David, to be counted along with all the other people. It was cold when they arrived. Joseph knocked on many doors looking for a room, but everyone said no. Finally, an innkeeper answered his door. I have no room, the innkeeper said, but you can stay in the little stable in the back. It's warm and the hay is fresh. Joseph, Mary said, I think it's time for the baby to be born. That night, Mary gave birth to Jesus. She laid him in a manger. The animals kept them warm as they waited for morning. Outside of Bethlehem, shepherds watched their sheep on the hills. Suddenly, an angel appeared. The shepherds looked up at the bright night sky. Don't be afraid, the angel said. I bring you wonderful news. The child God promised was born tonight. The shepherds listened in amazement. The twinkling stars seemed to echo each of the angel's words. The angel continued, go to Bethlehem. You will find the child lying in a bed of hay. Suddenly, many angels filled the heavens. They sang together, glory to God in the highest, and peace to all people on earth. Let's hurry, one shepherd said. The angel said, the child was born tonight. But what about the sheep? Another shepherd asked. Let the angels watch them, the youngest shepherd said. Yes, let the angels watch them. The shepherds happily hurried into Bethlehem. The angel was right. The shepherds found the baby Jesus asleep on the bed of hay. They told Mary and Joseph all the angel had said. The angel said the baby is the Messiah, the promised one. He is the one we have waited for, they explained. But this is a stable. Would God be born here among these animals? Moo, said the cow. Bah, said the sheep. Coo, said the dove. Mary smiled. She knew that Jesus was Emmanuel, God with us. Later, the shepherds returned to their sheep, praising God for all they had seen and heard. Jesus was born. All right. Where do we start? What interesting thing, the most amazing thing about the story?
Um, Jesus was born.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think it's neat to look at stories kind of out of season, if you will. So normally we read this in December, right at Christmas time, and it's interesting to read this in September. I think by the time the boys and girls will see it, it'll be October. But I was thinking about you talked about this is about beginnings and do not be afraid. And sometimes we try new things or we begin new things, and beginnings can be scary. Like if you're at the beginning of a school year, or just the beginning of a new chapter in life, it can be scary. But you hear, "Don't be afraid."
Love that. I love that phrase too. Don't be afraid. I think that's so. I think we hear that all the time in the Bible. We hear it all the time. Do not be afraid. And this idea that Jesus, the King of Kings, the Prince of Peace, the most important person, will be born in a manger or among animals and laid
A food trough, right?
in a food trough. Yeah, that's just so. And who heard first? Who were the first ones to hear? It wasn't
the lowest in society.
yes, yes. Who weren't even important enough to be counted in the census. They were the ones who heard first. It wasn't the politicians or the leaders or the church people, the religious leaders. It was shepherds. Okay, here's the key verse. The key verse here is chapter 2, verses 10 and 11. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord."
Mm.
This is the beginning of Jesus's ministry on earth. Any other thoughts?
I don't know. I don't think we can follow up with what's been said by Pastor Rebecca. Honestly, she covered everything.
It's a good story. It's a good story.
It is a good story. Yeah, I just lost my place here. So let's see. Next week we're going to hear about the Tower of Babel and Abraham and Sarah. All right, and Simeon. We'll hear about that. It's an important story too.
Wait, the whale at Etheridge?
Oh no.
That's right. All right. So, tell the boys and girls, Oktoberfest is coming up too. Do we want to say anything about that?
Yeah, Oktoberfest is coming up October 8th. It's a Saturday, so that you're not in school. And we have all kinds of fun things for the adults and kids alike. And especially for our kids, there's going to be a Kinder Zone.
Yeah, we'll have some jump castles, yeah. I mean, really, like, what else do you need besides a jump castle? I could tell you we have like a clown juggling, but you're gonna only want the jump castle. So we have jump castle, we'll have some face painting and some other fun activities.
And for parents and kids too, this goes to support a really good cause. This supports outreach in our community, supports some of St. Matthew's work that we do in the community, and also we're teaming up with some friends in ministry, Our Lady of Mercy, and they will be benefiting from Oktoberfest too. So you get to come and have fun, and it goes to a good cause.
Oktoberfest is fun. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Say a good prayer for good weather.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope y'all have a great week.
You too. All right.
Well, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.